All right, we've been to Chicago, we've been to Texas. Let's move a little further east and south down to New Orleans, which was a place where a lot of great blues grooves come from. And let's take a look at one of the common ones down there. This is called different names sometimes. I think of it as a blues rumba. Some people call it a mambo. I'm not sure what is, the exactly correct name for it, but let's just call it a blues rumba feel. And the bass line has this kind of accent. I'll play it in E for you. So you hear that little extra kind of accent on the first beat, and the first note is a little longer. So that kind of gives it its characteristic feeling. And then something you can do in the guitar to, give a little more oomph to this pattern is to put a backstroke or an upstroke, whatever you'd like to call it, pulling the pick back across the strings after the first note. You play that first note of the lick and then rake back across the strings while you're muting them. And what you're doing is kind of approximating the sound of a drummer playing like a little press roll, where they just play like a tight little drum roll. And so this kind of helps you, add a little bit of that percussive rhythm into the notes that you're playing. So let me play that for you one more time. Okay, so I'll play like a 12-bar progression with the upstrokes in it like that, so you get the feel of what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little bit of a New Orleans rumba. Okay, so after all of that shuffling and rumbaing and mamboing and all that stuff, the dancers are probably going to want to have a slower number to dance to for a minute, and you musicians might want something a little less rambunctious to play for about 5 minutes too, so you can kind of relax a little bit. So let's take a look at a more ballad or slow tune kind of rhythm. This would be in 6/8, and the feeling of this, there's a couple of different ways that you can approach this. One is by playing arpeggios. So let me show you what that sounds like. You feel the rhythm of that 6/8, like that there are 2 beats in the measure, but with a triplet, with 3 notes, 3/8 notes on each beat. So it's and see, I'm just arpeggiating the G chord. And that's you could play that all the way through the progression, and that would sound nice. But something that you might want to do as the guitar player, too, to add a little percussion to what you're doing, is play the first half of the measure, the first 3/8 notes as an arpeggio, and then play an upstroke that is just a muted chord. You see, that note or that beat that you're hitting is going to be the same beat that the drummer should be playing on the snare drum. So you'll be kind of matching his snare drum rhythm by putting your hit on that beat. So let's just play a little 12-bar form with this 6/8 rhythm, and I'll kind of mix up arpeggios where I'm arpeggiating all the way through the measure, and then some measures where I put that little thwack in on the second quarter note of the measure. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.